Good morning. My name is Patrick Highsmith, and I'm the president and CEO of Timberline Resources. Today, we issued a news release describing our latest results from the Eureka Gold Project in Nevada. Thought we would just take a few minutes and walk through those results because it's great news for the company, but a lot of technical information there. And perhaps this will help you digest that technical jargon. So the highlight of the release is that we have just completed a large drill program at Eureka, about 6,500 meters in total. We completed our drilling in January, and this is really the first batch of those results to come out since a few holes we reported back in October. The highlight, of course, we put right at the top here. We reported an interval of almost 23 meters, 22.9 meters, that averages 6.11 grams of gold per ton. Now, this is in an area we call the water well zone, and the interval begins at 140.8 meters depth. Included in that longer run is an interval of 12.2 meters that assays almost 9 grams per ton from 151 meters depth. We had a number of holes that hit significant gold in this release. This was the highlight, hole 220C. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. But in another hole, in 211, we also hit almost 11 meters of 3 grams per ton from 229 meters depth. And that was 211C, that's a core hole. And then these results came from reverse circulation drill holes, almost 23 meters of 1.1 grams in hole 198 from 219 meters depth, and another interval of 6.1 meters at 2.85 grams per ton gold, a little shallower in hole 204. Now, this is the latest results from drilling in what we call the water well zone. The water well zone is not included in Timberline's resource. We call that the Lookout Mountain resource. This is an area just east of that we discovered in 2015. It's a similar geologic setting. And we have, prior to this drilling, about 7 drill holes had passed through this zone. So it's early days, and these are some of the best results yet we've seen in the water well zone. So results are going to continue coming over the next few weeks. But let me take you through some of the underlying news in this release. It's important to note that 3 of these holes, 204 and 205, which were reverse circulation, and 220C, which was a core hole, were drilled from the same pad, the same general site where we parked the drill rigs. Now, this area was quite a step out. We're about 134 meters north of the farthest north drilling we've done before, which is a hole we reported in October, hole 195. So we've gone another 134 meters north. We've hit the gold again, but there's a story. Why would we put 3 holes in the same place? What happened here, as we're describing in the press release, is the first 2 holes were reverse circulation. In reverse circulation, you get small chips that are blowing up the drill hole. We saw there alteration, silicification, pyrite, the minerals, the mineral orpiment, which is an arsenic sulfide mineral, which often goes with the gold when you're looking for Carlin-type gold deposits. So these were visually impressive results, and we chose to rush those assays, to pay the lab to complete those assays more quickly. We got those results in. We were a little surprised with those results. So there was definitely gold there, but it didn't seem to be consistent with the visual observations we made. So we brought in a core rig to drill a diamond core hole, and we chose to twin drill hole 205 with this core hole. So really, we look at a map, just to lay this out for you before we talk a little bit more about the twinning process. This cluster of red discs is the beginning of the water well zone, where the first couple of holes were drilled in 2015. You can see if I scroll a little bit more, the red discs indicate high-grade drill intercepts. The smaller ones are about 3 grams, and the bigger ones are up to 10. And you can see outlined in red here is our resource area. Okay, so this pod is our resource area, including the historic Lookout Mountain open pit and some high-grade drilling underneath that. But here we're outside of the resource, and we'd had some good hits here, reporting some great intercepts last year, and again in October of 2021, we reported some results up into this area that indicated we had gold. But then we went another 134 meters to the north, and we drilled these holes here, 204, 205, and 220 in this area. So now we are over 250 meters away from the original discovery of the water well zone. And as you can see, a lot of space in there, not a lot of drilling yet. So quite exciting to go to the far north end of the resource and hit what appears to be the best drill hole ever drilled in this water well zone. We're awaiting more results. You can see, if you look carefully at the news release, these black indications are RC holes or core holes or a combination RC and core, for which we're still awaiting results. So there's more news to come from the drill program at the water well zone. And we're going to learn a lot more about it. Because we did twin this hole, it gave us information for sampling quality using reverse circulation in hole 205 and using core in hole 220. Well, the outcome is that the diamond core drilling may be demonstrating significantly higher grade in these mineralized intervals than reverse circulation drilling. Now, this has been known in the industry, but there's a reason for this. When we're drilling for exploration, we often encounter groundwater. And in this case, there was a significant amount of groundwater, and that groundwater is washing away fine material. It makes the samples very wet. And it's possible that finer grain material has more gold in it. And if that were washing away from reverse circulation, you would be biasing the result. The other aspect of these data is that when we drilled hole 205, we saw chips of rocks from higher up in the hole in the samples. That higher up rock unit does not have gold in it. And so again, that washing down into the sample, perhaps because of groundwater flow, could dilute the amount of gold there. Diamond core, of course, produces a continuous cylinder of rock, much better recovery, much better geological record. And when we take those samples to the lab, we know they've been much less affected by a phenomenon like groundwater washing over the rock. So we get a better quality sample. This is the first of these core holes that has tested an RC drilling site. So it's early days yet. We're not drawing final conclusions, but the indications are from this first twin that the core drilling has produced much higher grade. Every sample in the core hole had higher grade than the corresponding sample in the reverse circulation hole. Really valuable information because most of the previous drilling in this area was reverse circulation. So you'll see us very soon. We've already started planning to twin a couple of more RC holes with core, and that will give us added information to draw the conclusions we need to plan the drill out of what we believe is becoming a very exciting discovery at the water well zone. So as you scroll down the news release, you can see direct comparison between the reverse circulation hole and the core hole. You can see here the reverse circulation hole was definitely mineralized, 36.6 meters of over 1 gram per ton. And the corresponding depth in the core hole was, we haven't got samples back for the rest of the hole yet. So we're only looking at a partial interval, and that partial interval ran 22.9 meters of 6.1 grams, including the additional higher grade that I mentioned before. So great results here. The diamond core rig has produced excellent samples in a zone that we were hoping to learn a lot more about. And so we don't know what comes next yet, because this, if you look at the map again, look at this pod of emerging high-grade results up here on the far north of the water well zone. And as we usually do, we've given you a lot of geologic information in this release, and you can see these blue lines here are interpreted fault structures. And in Carlin-type gold mineralization, faults are often the source of these fluids, and who knows, maybe there's a high-grade zone along this fault that we've just gotten into, and maybe this sort of structure explains a lot of the gold we've seen over this large area at the water well zone, still yet to be tested. So stay tuned, more results to come from this drill program. I think we've got about 15 holes still outstanding, and then right after that, of course, we'll be having results from the core holes we have over at the Oswego zone that we last reported on in December. So stay tuned, great news flow from Timberline for the first quarter of this year and beyond, and follow us as we keep drilling at the Eureka project in Nevada.